Here we go, OneNGlen back in action, checking in. Myself, OneNGlen, and my main man, 2M Timmy.
2M Timmy.
We're over here doing some work on the 1500 Ram 2019?
Yes.
2019. This is the same truck that you saw in the last video when we did the little lift kit on it. To the front, we did the leveling kit. We put a 2-inch lift on the front. So we are back and we are going to do shocks all the way around, and we're going to do control arms in the front. And Tim has picked up a set of Bilstein. These are the fronts. These are the rears. Some Bilstein shocks, so we're putting those on. And we're going to give you a little tutorial on how to put on the rear shocks if you want to upgrade your shocks. All right, so here we go.
All right, so we removed the tire. You got the shock right here. You don't have to worry about the springs, obviously. We got to remove this mud guard here to get to the bolt that's on top of the shock tower. So this is these 4 bolts. They're 8 millimeter.
All right, shocks.
So learning from the other side, remove the bottom bolt first, unless you want to go to the emergency room, and then remove the top of the shock tower.
It is literally just the 2 bolts and the shock comes out.
The bottom's 21 millimeters and the top on this one is what? 18.
All right, we're gonna remove those and we'll be right back. All right, so here's side by side. Here's the stocks. Here's the Bilsteins. They run, the Bilstein's a little bit longer, and it is set up for a truck with a lift. So you're gonna have a longer extension on the shock itself. It's not gonna limit you like a stock shock would.
It raises you an inch, and you can see that this is a better quality shock. I mean, if there's nothing wrong with your shocks, you don't want to change them out, don't change them out for no reason. There is a reason I wanted to change mine out. I wanted to lift my truck more. I wanted more stiffer suspension. But if there's nothing wrong with it, obviously don't replace them. This shock's made in Mexico. It's Hitachi. The Bilstein's obviously is German. It's assembled in the United States.
America. All right, let's throw this bad boy on. All right, when we're putting the shock mounted up here, we got it loosely fitted up on top, and we're using the jack to lift the shock into place. I'll put a breaker bar under here, slide it up, bolt slides right in, good to go. All right, now that we got the rears all done, we're getting ready to start on the fronts. We did do one side on the front already, and we kind of worked out our little kinks on how we're gonna do it. This should probably be about maybe a 30-minute job if you know what if you've done one side, and like from now on it should be relatively quick.
Probably the longest part is compressing the spring. That probably took about 40 minutes.
Yeah, because we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Well, that's not what we're doing. It's not trying to get killed.
Yeah, true. So not too bad. Let me just give you a run through of what we're going to do first. For removal of the whole strut, so you're going to take off your brake caliper. The whole assembly does not have to come off. Your upper control arm, this bottom nut needs to come off. Your end link, we went through the bottom side bolt here on the other side, that one comes off. And your tie rod right here, this bottom bolt needs to come off. Once those main 3 things are off, you should be able to separate the lower control arm, and it should basically drop from your upper control arm. You should get a nice good hang out of it. And then you can come in here on your strut tower, take off your bottom bolt, take off your upper 3 bolts.
The mud guard.
And we took off this whole mud guard, and it makes easy access to the upper control arm bolts on the side. Let me show you on the passenger side. And we basically took it all out of here. Again, here's the rough country upper control arm. We have the Bilstein shock in there. We got the, just all new setup. These are super easy to access once you have your mud guard out of there. All right, here we go. We got it pretty much taken apart here. Let me show you in depth of what we have going on here. All right, so we have the upper control arm bolt is out. we took the upper control arm out, which is a big bolt here, a big bolt here. We have the top strut bolts taken off already, and now we have to get the lower strut up and over the lower control arm here. So we're going to do this with a nice little pry bar. There we go. And this just comes out. Now the fun begins. So now we're going to take off, this is our lift kit, our 2-inch lift kit that we put on initially. So we're going to take this off. We're going to compress this spring. We're going to show you how to do this the right way.
Actually, no, we're going to show you how to do it the wrong way. The right way is manually. We don't like manual, we like power.
Yeah, exactly. We're just going to show you how to do it. All right. We're going to take this thing off and then we'll show you what we have going on after that. All right, so the upper bolt on the strut, I'll show it to you here in a little bit. It was hard as heck to get off. So we're going to pre-soak it in WD-40. It's this bolt right here. Yeah, this one right there. It's got a little rust on the top of it, but we're going to pre-soak it in WD-40. We are now going to compress the springs. And we're doing it with a manual spring compressor. Okay, so one side of the compressor goes on one side of the spring. The other side of the compressor is going to go here on the other side, like this.
You got to make sure they're straight. If you got them cocked, it's just a cannon waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing when you're doing this, you got to pay attention, making sure you get equal turns on each side, because you'll start cocking that unit and it'll shoot off like a bullet.
And we're going to show you the proper way to compress these
for about 3 seconds. So the proper way to compress these, you take a manual wrench, open end, whatever you got.
Are we really going to show them this way?
I'm showing the proper way, and then we're going to do our way. You got to show the proper way.
All right, let's show the proper way.
So this will be the proper way. You got to manually crank it, give it on equal turns on each side. So right now, that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do. Now we're going to show you how we do it. Be right back while we get this set up. All right, here we go. So
See,
Tim was showing you the proper way. Now OneNGlen is going to show you the easy way. The improper way though.
so this is like jumping out of an airplane without a parachute.
What you're going to do is you're going to put your 3/4 inch socket on there with a long extension. Milwaukee, baby.
And you should be using an actual drill if you're going to do this, not an impact. So we're going double whammies.
So you're just going to kind of give this thing a little crank here. And you're going to pull it off. You're going to go to the other side. And you're going to give this one a little crank.
All right, hold on. You're starting to twist it.
Until it starts to bend a little on this side. Then you're going to come back to this side.
You actually don't want it to bend, though.
And you want to give this one a little bendy. Now looks like we're starting to come a little bit loose. We're going to go a little more because...
This is what you want to get. This has got to be completely loose.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Come back to this side. Come back to this side. You know who I learned this from? I learned this from Tyler. Tyler, if you're watching this, thanks for the tip, bro.
I learned this at work. Because I like to get actual work done, not wait there for an hour and a half twisting things.
All right, this is what we want to show right here. This is where you're unseated. There's no tension on this thing. Now we want to take this front bar off. Got this wrench right here, this goofy looking thing from my dad. last time I was in California. And this thing is perfect for this. Sits right in there, comes right out.
Shock tower, the old shock tower, you gotta remove this, and you gotta remove this plate, and you gotta keep this. So what you gotta do is get a hammer, which I don't know.
There's a little baby hammer up there, but let me go to your regular one. Came right off?
Yeah. So use a hammer, knock that off. You need to knock this off. Do it kind of even so you don't bend the living daylights off it. And it'll eventually come off. And this part you're going to reuse. You don't care about this. That collar can stay here, but you're going to reuse this. Out of the old tower.
Okay, OneNGlen is going to take this, and I'm going to cut 1.25 inches down. When I measured it, it literally just goes to this dirt line right here. So let me just hit this thing. Make sure you have yourself a nice sharp knife. On in here, and just kind of cut around. Boom. Then you keep this collar. This collar goes back over here. Then your coupling for your spring, which right here, comes back onto here. Boom.
And then with the new tower, got your little kit here that comes with it. Put this collar ring on. And this is actually set the different measurement heights. We set it to where we want it. So however height you want it, you can put it. This will actually come back into the groove. There's the collar here, and it locks into place. Then you got to bring this puppy in and hammer it in. So
Let me get you the regular one now.
I know what I'm going to get Glenn for Christmas is a ball peen hammer for this kind of stuff.
That doesn't do the job?
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Right tool for the right job. I didn't need that tool anyways.
If you ask Lover Buns will say we are the tools for the job.
Lover bun is a tool. You're right. So I'm ready to take this. I can't wait till she hears that.
You're dead, Timmy.
Yeah. Me and Maria are kind of similar. So that's what's going to make it interesting, because I would get even with her. Now she's going to get even with me. I just didn't tell her where I live. So this is all ready set to go. They come back on here, so you're going to slide this up. And you can see, if you look, you can see the tension on this. Keep in mind, that's probably like, what, 10,000 pounds at least?
That's enough. That's enough that we don't care about it.
Exactly, because if it hits us, we're just dead, so we don't care. We won't know it. How's that?
That sounds good.
So,
all right. So with the spring, though, make sure that the base plate right here catches with the end of the spring. It's really important that it sits correctly on the base plate there.
and now we're gonna have to check to see if we have to
compress that spring anymore. No, heck no, we're not.
We did it right. Or dangerously, one or the other.
All right, we're getting ready to go put this strut into the truck now. Let's take you along while we wrestle this bad boy.
And we'll let you know if we have spare parts.
Exactly. All All right, so we got the rough country upper control arm on here and just kind of loosely bolted. We have the shock or the strut in here. Lower bolt is on. Upper 3 bolts are bolted on. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna jack up this lower control arm. We're gonna seat the upper control arm and we're gonna get that bolt just started. We're also gonna put in our tie rod and our end link, and we're gonna bolt those up. So we have 3 bolts. Once we get this upper control arm mounted into this thing, whatever this thing is called, I know where it goes, I don't know what this thing is called, but once we get the upper control arm
not working anymore.
Bolted into here, then we'll go up here and we'll tighten up our upper control arms. And we'll get them nice and snug. Once it's under the weight of the truck, they'll still shift inside the bushings. But right now we don't want to tighten them because it'll be really hard for us to make any adjustments under just OneNGlen man weight. So again, tie rod, end link, upper control arm, and we'll be right back. All right, so we got this thing wrapped up. We put the new Bilstein on the front. This thing is looking sweet as ever. 2019 Dodge Ram 1500 with the 5.7 Hemi. Here's our old parts. Front struts, shocks, rear shocks, upper control arms, all swapped out for rough country new ones and Bilstein shocks all the way around. So this thing actually is riding pretty dang sweet. I like the look of this thing. You have to let me know how it rides if you need, if you feel like you need an alignment, and let us know so we can put it on the YouTube. So if people are thinking about doing the same kit, they might not have to. Me and Big Tim got this thing done. It took us just about 5 hours to do it, and we were in no real rush. The first side we were kind of learning, so I think if we had to do it again, and if Jason Sample wants to lift his truck, we could do that sucker a lot. We could do it faster next time. But the instructions say it should take about 8 hours. We got knocked out in about 5 hours, which I feel like pretty good for a couple guys in a garage. What do you think, Tim, on the install?
Not bad, pretty easy.
Yeah.
We both have mechanical experience. I do it for a trade, and he's got mechanical experience, worked in CNC shops and stuff, so it makes, when you have 2 people that are very knowledgeable, even if you're not familiar with it, it makes it a lot easier and a lot faster because you're just kind of like in sync with each other.
Yeah, I agree. I felt like it was pretty good today getting this thing knocked out. So we did use, we had no real crazy tools. We have your regular kind of impact wrenches, electric ratchet wrenches, jack stand, nuts and bolts. Yeah, we had no specialized tools to do this job. So this definitely can be done with just regular tools. If you don't have power tools, it could be a little more of a pain, but it's definitely doable. So if you are looking to do this, again, this is the rough country upper control arms, Bilstein shocks all the way around, front and rear, and this is a garage DIY. So hope you enjoyed the video. OneNGlen, 2M Timmy, checking out. See you, YouTubers.